everybody? It's your boy, the Versace Stoner, live! That is right! And we got a very special guest that's also live! You might have seen him at the local shows. He's one of the best artists in my opinion. Greg, the sign guy.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the VSW headquarters.
Thank you for having me.
So yeah, I see your work. I love your work. I mean, I see the pictures online. I see you at shows. Let's talk a little bit about that for a second. What got you into bringing signs?
Being an old school wrestling fan, I guess.
And that's what it really is, the old school wrestling fan. Because if you go now, the signs are kind of limited.
And that's the thing, is I love bringing it back. It's people don't realize you can do it. You paid your ticket. You're sitting there. You can more or less say what you want within reason, but it's a great outlet for wrestlers, for fans, everybody who wants just to get a little creativity out there that can kind of have a voice.
And it's fun.
It's totally fun.
It's harmless fun.
Look at live syndicated wrestling. They still have signs. They may not be as many. You look at the.
That's the thing on live syndicated wrestling nowadays. I feel like the signs are fixed.
They could be fixed. I know people who have had their signs yoinked.
Yeah, now let's take it back. I'm an old school wrestling fan too. I grew up in the 80s and 90s watching wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my first big show was Survivor Series '93.
Nice.
And it was like the Hearts were facing off against the supposed to be Lawless team, and Yokozuna's team against Lex Luger. So me and my friend, we made all sorts of posters, old school posters, America this, and Yokozuna, down with them. And like, when I start seeing signs on the indie show, it brings me back to that childhood point.
Definitely, and that's what I love too, is that nostalgia. I'm so nostalgic. I think that's what drives a lot of us as wrestling fans, is we love what we loved then, and we love what we love now. And sure, it's changed a bit, but at the same time, you still have that nostalgic feel of the lights, the crowd, the sounds and sights. It's incredible.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. There's a lot of things in life that we love as a kid, right? And then as we start to get older, we kind of deter from it. We might grow out of it. It might not suit us. But wrestling, see, at least for me in my age demographic, I felt like it was kind of stalking me. When I was a little kid, it was all bright and big stars, and then it kind of, followed me along even further. When I was at like that 15, 16 range, it started to hit with this adult material stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like wrestling kind of went along, but it is definitely one of those things, it took many years off of not watching, and it actually took me watching a Macho Man Randy Savage promo to kind of get me back into it. I was scrolling through YouTube looking for something funny. I was trying to show my friend how like promos used to be funny.
Okay.
And, people meant it. And so I'm thinking, Macho Man, perfect one. Cream of the top. He's got everything going on. So I find it and we watch it. And my friend is just amazed. He's like, can we reproduce this? I'm like, how? I'm like, what if we ran like a mock wrestling channel and just did wild, skits like this? Never having to get into a ring, but just have some fun making YouTube videos. I'm like, I'm all for it. I love making, this time I was doing like horror and comedy. So I didn't even touch wrestling yet. So I was like, let's go for it.
That was your spark, right?
That was it.
That's what ignited that passion.
And he started he made up a name. It was called Broke Wrestlers League. And it was basically about a bunch of guys that never made it anywhere. And we would just come out and like do character talks and be like, hey, I'm trying to get rich, but
That's not relatable at all.
No, we didn't even know at this point. And then we were going to run a show, believe it or not. We were going to run a show with real guys, and it's a lot more involved. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, that's what I always respect, is how much goes into it. All the hands.
And it's not even just the hands, it's just you have to have your ducks lined up. You need to have that ring.
To deliver that quality product.
Yes, you don't want to just be using anything. You want to have the right talent. You want to have the right direction. I've done shows that haven't turned out very good at all. I wasn't in full control of it, but still, I've worked with it, and it's just like, I don't want this.
You can't win them all,
No, but I don't want this either. That's not what I want to represent myself. So, you do better. So we decided, put everything on hiatus and just work with, the video, because that's what we were, going with. But it was that nostalgia of, the Macho Man talking, those goosebumps with, those promos before and after a match, you get you hyped up.
Definitely. For me, ironically, I was always a wrestling fan as a kid, and then I guess I kind of just fell off the Richter scale, so to speak. Just I couldn't find any wrestling for a while, in my mind, and it just kind of faded away. And then finally, I work in a bakery, I decorate cakes, and I had this order come through for the Ultimate Warrior's face, just the logo, and it all came flooding back. And like I stopped like right before Cena came through and everything like that.
Me.
So
You know, it was right before Ruthless Aggression. I was like, okay, this is it.
Okay.
Attitude Era ended, and I was like, oh, okay.
It just faded away for me. I know it's always been
And
there.
then obviously, you know, life happens. Like you get girlfriend, you get wife, you get kids, you get the whole 9 yards. Things happen in life, and it's just like, okay, we're not doing wrestling right now.
Right.
And at that point, it's not like it's even a hobby. It was just like, oh, I watch it because I enjoy it, but it's not like I'm actively, you know, creating anything for it.
And I was watching, you know, like I think it was WrestleMania, I want to say 34. So I mean, I've only been going to shows since like 2018. But that's what I kind of remember that year of like, that was my first indie show, Top Rope in Brockton.
Okay.
So I've only been going to shows for that long. I've only been really like focused on wrestling. I've always been a fan, but I've been really, you know, like focused and following these people and realizing that they are in fact real people, and you can watch their talent blossom and you can see where they go.
You know, and that's the thing. You know, first of all, I'm going to say this. We started around similar times. I think I got into the indie scene around the end of 17. And again, you know, similar to you, I just couldn't find it. It wasn't there. And then, like I said, we saw that promo, and I was like, let me do a little research. Let me see what's out there. Because when I went to indie, you know, wrestling as a kid, it was totally different. I remember going to a show down the street. They had the Honky Tonk Man.
Nice.
They had the Warlord. They had a WCW ref. And then everybody else, I couldn't even tell you who they were. They were just nobodies. They had no personality, they had no character. They came out, they fought, but there was no story. There was nothing continuation, nothing continuing from week to week. It was just a show.
True.
When I went in, you know, in 2017 and stepped into, you know, my first show was in NCW Dedham, and when I walked in there and I saw that everybody had their own character. Everybody had their own story. Everybody had their own role. I was impressed.
Yeah, they all do such a great job, and that's what I say, keep up the great work, because it is. It's like, I don't have the balls to get out there. Sure, I do what I do, but I've paid a ticket and sit where I'm seated. I'm not coming through the curtain. I don't have an entrance theme.
Yeah.
I just do what I'm doing.
You do what you
but
do.
I respect what they do so much, and that's why I do it, because I know that they get a kick out of seeing their face on something, or an inside joke, or...
And that's the thing. I think, you know, a lot of, you know, the indie scene in general, you know, it's a mixed bag of exposure.
Yeah.
Okay, you got shows that, like you said, you know, they're running, you know, some are in Brockton, some are here, some are there. Now, out of all those shows, unless there's fans that are sitting on cameras, you know, I like to take a lot of videos and film. I know a few other people like to take a lot of videos. People don't get to see it.
No, some people like to live in the moment too. Some people don't know why they're there. You got people like us who love it and look forward to it and plan for it, and then post our videos and pictures and stuff. And then there's the other people who it could be their first time, which I love. I love people's.
I've brought people to the first time.
It's amazing.
It's an experience because, like I said, they're expecting something that's going to be shitty.
Yeah.
They don't understand what the indie scene is, and they don't understand where we live either. For the indie scene, we are blessed. I will say that.
We are. It's such
we live in the Northeast.
A melting pot of talent.
We've had some of the best walk through here into the bigger stuff. I mean, John Cena, Sasha Banks, you can keep going on and on. Killer Kowalski. All these people have shaped this area into one of like the hottest wrestling destinations.
And you look at, I mean, and we're in the Northeast, but like you look at Limitless, and pretty much every title holder there has become someone in AEW, someone new, someone big.
Oh, they're traveling. I mean,
or travel. Look, I mean,
look at Shane Thomas. He's going to Germany.
Channing, look at your boy AG.
AG did wonders too, and you know he won it and then went to WWE. You know, MJF
Well,
won.
look at
Casanova.
those check marks.
Oh,
Casanova, MJF, absolutely.
Daniel Garcia, one of my
Took
favorite
words out of the
champions.
mouth.
He's
So,
one of my favorite champions. He
look
actually,
at
that was he held it down during the pandemic, honestly, for Limitless for me as a champion. And him and Blackwood they did something special there.
Forgive me, is Alec Price, was the champion?
Yeah, he came in after that too.
So I've been waiting for him. I mean, we can talk about him all day, but like I've been waiting for him to just blow up, and he's doing his thing. I know last time I heard he was in Texas.
Yeah, he's off the charts right now. And I mean, I remember watching him doing promos for like Let's Wrestle and stuff, and just you know working that character, just kind of starting it out, and all of a sudden, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
And you know, we do get great exposure also. You know, like I said, if it's not one of those shows and you can get to that next level show, just a little bit higher, you know, you can get on to like Wrestling Open. You can get on to Beyond Itself. You can get on to the Limitless shows. You know, then you have the chance to be on IWTV. then you get seen.
Exposure.
Exposure. But to the normal people that are wrestling, they're not even thinking about that. They're coming out. So when they see you with the sign, acknowledging them and knowing that, well, you just spent some time doing something for them.
It's such a mixed bag. I mean, obviously I do it because I love wrestling and I'm not trying to be a part of it, but I love being a part of it. I love stopping someone in their tracks and having them either smile or frown or break. There's nothing like making a wrestler break, and I take pride in it.
Well, I mean, if you can get them to break, then that's actually pretty impressive.
It's one of my favorite things in the world.
But you know, not for nothing, but I think, 2020 taught everybody a valuable lesson. Fans are part of the show. Without fans, there's no show.
It's very true. I know you've said before about the streaming, and we got to see a lot of stuff, but then it was just that. We were all watching it by ourselves, watching people.
We enjoyed it, but guess what? If you talk to the wrestlers, they were missing something. They were happy to get ring time, but they were missing the fans.
You remember when WWE did the digital people?
Yeah.
It blew my mind. I'm like, am I really watching this right now? Is this real life? Like, I appreciate it, but it feels like a game of guess who.
No, I actually, because I was a big fan of the whole thing, because I was like, this is cool technology. So I've actually, if you watch that 2020
I remember seeing you. I did see you.
I'm on there at the beginning. I'm all holding down. I'm on it. I'm like, wow.
So as crazy as that was, it did give people a chance to sign in, sign up, get. I saw your face.
Maybe see, like if I went to the show, I wasn't getting that close.
It doesn't matter. It was cool that they gave you that opportunity.
You know who else was on there that night? Vern Vacalo.
Okay.
He got on there later.
Okay. I might have saw him, but
he was like the last match. But me, I was like right in the beginning doing that Sasha Banks thing. But I mean, yes, it was a fun time. But again, without the fans, and part of with the fans is the banter. You need the banter. You need the back and forth. That makes the bad guys bad.
Exactly. And if I'm not, throwing up signs, I'm chanting, ribbing, chirping the shit out of people, and I can't help it.
But that's part of it, right?
Exactly.
The ribs aren't. This isn't personal attacks on people. This is just for fun.
Because I'm gonna shake their hand afterwards. I'm gonna walk up to them and say, hey, at their table, take a picture with them with the sign that just shit all over them. But at the same time, they love it. Heels love the shit. Baby faces love the positivity. It's just plain and simple. And like going back to Alec Price, seeing his heel to face turn on Beyond was incredible. When every week they were just shit on him, and then all of a sudden they're chanting Northeast Beast.
And it wasn't even his doing. It was them, the fans. The fans shaped him.
Exactly. And I, as a fan, have been watching him this whole time, and I've been waiting for his moment. This kid needs to go places.
Because I remember around after that point, he came up, he started doing the limiters more and more. And the fans were chanting for him up there. But he wasn't happy. He didn't want it. He was like, stop chanting for me. Shut your mouths. You're all stupid. Like,
so
he just didn't
wasn't
want
there
it.
yet. No. And then all of a sudden, he's a face.
And then, another person I'll say that's just really has made waves in a short time. Look at Becca.
Absolutely.
I mean, I remember her in 2020. I watched her in an NCW show. She came out, basic Becca. She looked like an 80s gymnast.
This is the Scrunchy Squad, right?
And Scrunchy Squad just kind of a knock, and then all of a sudden, now she's doing pop star stuff.
It's crazy. I keep seeing her on podcasts and stuff, talking about how she's done this, done that. Well, I was screaming once. I was in a screaming band. I'm like, what the hell? And then we looked it up, me and my girlfriend, and we're like, she really did. It was wild.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember, but I'm like, she's another one that just kind of had to get there. Because when I interviewed her very early on in her career, probably in that 2020, 2021 mark, she was very shy. She wasn't really there yet. She was confident, but that confidence wasn't oozing. Now she's there. She's solid.
She's an international pop star. She really is.
And whatever she does, I know people that just go to indie shows just for that, just to see Becca when she goes.
It's awesome.
And I've seen people just go for. I'm a big Sydney Bacabella guy. I love Sydney. I think she's hilarious.
I know you're a big fan. That's why
Oh.
That's for you. There you go.
I can have this really.
If you look at the back, it's been through some shit. That's courtesy of Sydney. But Sydney and I go back to my first show when he burned me. I feel like everybody I know has been burned by Sydney Bacabella. I don't know if you've been burned by Sydney Bacabella.
You know what? I wasn't burned by Sydney because I started it off right. I started it off with money in hand.
Oh, there you go.
Buying something. I was like, you know what? I want to buy your merch. Let me buy a shirt.
And I get that, and I do support how I can. I mean, you see what I do, there is some money that's involved in it, so I try to support them how I can, visually and, the experience, amping up the experience.
Exactly.
But I love shirts,
I'm a
just
big
like
shirt
you.
guy. I'm a big shirt guy.
I'm well aware, I just saw your treasure trove, there was like a Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe thing back there that I kept going through, and there was so many shirts I got lost. His kid needed to come get me. It was crazy.
And that's the thing, you know, in 2020 again, when I saw the wrestlers struggling, when I saw them not being able to go to shows, it was right before WrestleMania weekend, everybody getting canceled. I'm seeing AG sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
You know, he had like 12 shows that weekend.
Wow.
Everybody was just in a slump, and I'm like, you know what, let me start doing something to give them a little income. They're not getting money.
Yeah.
So I started doing these like random drops. Like if you have a shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees, drop your link. And like every week I would buy a shirt.
That's awesome.
And then it got into more and more and more. And then when shows came back, I'm like, yes. And like you too, I might rip somebody at the show. I might be chanting whatever. But after the show, I'm gonna go and talk to them if they're out there.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna probably buy merch. That is one thing though that I do, depending on the show, that I kind of get frustrated about. I'm a big fan of heels, and not a lot of times the heels will come out.
I get that, and I'm a big voice on everybody should be out there. If you don't want exposure, why aren't you out there? You don't want your shit sold, why aren't you out there? If I see your merch at the table and I don't see you at the table, it's kind of redundant.
It is. I mean, the only way, I get it, you gotta stay in that nasty character.
I get it,
but you know who does it perfect? Ava Everett.
There you go.
She comes out there, she'll be nasty to you, she'll barely sign this. I've had her sign things upside down, I've had her spit at it.
Ava.
She'll do whatever she wants, but she'll stay in character.
Sweet Ava. I did not bring an Ava sign, but the past 2 nights, because I was at the past 2 live pro wrestling shows, Teddy's promotion, I got graced with her presence, and I have this lovely sign of her mug, because that's all it is, it's just her. It just has her face, and she popped at it when she saw it first, but she didn't realize I flip up the other part of the sign that says gross at the top, and that's one of our trademarks, you know, less is more, that's one of my sayings, and you know, if you can just say something, one thing, whether it's gross, dweeb, you know, it's what works. It's what works.
It's known.
There's seeing a whole crowd with these stupid signs that we print out and we hand them out to everybody. And they're all holding these up. And a lot of times they get ripped. Bacabella is one of those guilty people who loves doing that. But it went from me doing what I do and then people wanting to know if they could do it. And I'm like, yeah, you can do it. Here, take this sign. Just do it. Have a good time. And some people are like, who's gross? And I'm like,
whoever you want.
Thank you. That's it. That's it. It's whoever you find gross. Someone I love, you can find gross. Go for it.
And that's the cool thing, I think. You know, wrestling's very subjective.
That is
we all have our own favorites. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Sydney. I drove all the way to almost the Pennsylvania line to go see the guy.
I'm not a fan of Sydney, but I mean, he's definitely easy to, I don't know what you call it. Easy to work with.
He's easy to work with. I think he puts himself out that way, though.
He does. He's
he's one of the top.
Like I was saying before, how he burned me. First show at Top Rope Promotions, he comes out. First thing he says on the microphone. Keep in mind, Avengers Endgame had just came out that week.
Okay.
I hadn't gotten to see it. He comes in, he gets on the mic and goes, "Iron Man dies." That's the first thing he says.
Oh my God, that's classic.
I was like, are you kidding me? He just like killed a bunch of kids' dreams. Like, what is going on? Again, I'm still a mark to this day. I'm still so green as this green screen. It doesn't matter because I love it. And I learn something new every single show I'm at. And that's what I love about wrestling, is there's something new in every single show.
There is, and you'll see a different side of talent. You'll see a different side. I mean, you just talked about Ava. Ava might not have been so nice, but when I first saw her, you know, she was actually a sweetie. You know, she was coming out.
Right, the little baby face look, and then she kind of went down the shield.
She was rocking these Rugrats gear.
Oh,
and you know what, like 90s memorabilia, and she was just, you know, shaking everybody's hands. We got photos smiling now. No smiles, nothing.
No.
But that's a transformation. And that's what's fun about this industry. Nothing's stagnant.
No.
When you think it is, it changes.
It does. That's
People
what I love.
change. The scenery changes.
That's what I try to change too. I mean, it's hard to do what I do because it's turned into such a monster. Like, you see what I brought, that's nothing. You should see my spare room. God bless my girlfriend Kathy, because she lets me do what I do, and I have this spare room and it's covered in poster boards.
See, I didn't have a spare room. All my stuff used to be up. That's why they
But
put
still,
all my stuff down here.
You have a spot, and I have a spot, but it has just grown because what do you do? What do I do? I make a sign and it goes into the vault. And then I go to a show, I'm like, who's gonna be at the show? Oh, so-and-so, I gotta bring that, it comes out the vault. Times X amount of shows, how many shows do you go to? I see your t-shirts, same deal with my signs, it's just like crazy.
Yeah, and then like, honestly, not but not, sometimes I'll take some time off, not do a couple shows for a couple months, and then all of a sudden I'll do, it's 3 shows a weekend. It's like bam, 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 bam. And it is, and I kind of play that game. I'll try to wear a shirt to someone that I like that's on that show. So then I go through my shirts trying to say, well, Alex Price on the show. Let me go grab my Alex Price shirt. Oh, Big RG's here. Let me grab my Big RG's.
And that's how you represent.
I've been to shows where I've had 3 different shirts with me on top of each other, pulling them up because different people are changing. Now, there's no difference in that in changing signs.
It's such a great analogy. Like, I compare that perfectly. Like, that's how you represent yourself, that's how you represent the talent, and that's how you show your support.
Right now I happen to have
and
one
that's how you
shirt.
represent yourself.
I have one shirt in my own podcast, and you have your own shirt, but it didn't start out that way. It started off with representing others and putting them
the
first.
beauty of it. Like,
I still do.
I have a Cricut, I make my own merch, I make other people's merch.
Crickets are amazing.
They really are. I can do a lot of fun stuff.
We did our whole wedding decor with
There you go. It's
amazing. She wanted a Disney style wedding, and so we did everything, all the cutouts and everything. It was perfect.
They have all those licensed collections and stuff.
They do.
It's great.
And that's the thing. There's so much creativity, and it doesn't just have to be in the ring. And that's where it kind of gets me back. Because I wouldn't say we're wrestlers. We're not part of shows. We're not booked to shows.
Nope.
But we are in some ways a supportive cast of the experience.
I've become a character, and I didn't ask to be.
No.
But it just kind of happened.
Me too. All of a sudden, I have always, well, not always, but I started smoking, and then I like Versace clothing, and I was like, let me change my name a little bit.
The Versace Stoner.
And then, all of a sudden, it just became this thing where people in public are calling me Versace, and everybody's just calling that. I'm just like, okay, cool. I'll roll with it.
Same deal, dude. It's just, you become someone. And
but
it's
what? I go to the
it.
show just the same. I pay for my ticket.
Exactly.
I go sit in my front row seat. I will, take video footage. I'll pull all of my shirts. I'll do whatever I have to do to support that show, the promotion, the wrestlers. Because that's what I like to do. I like to get the eyes and ears. So then I'll bring it back to my channel. Let me highlight things. Let me show things. Let other people in other countries watch it. Let other people in other towns watch it.
I live in a moment-to-moment world in wrestling. I'm there for the whole show. I love the show. I try to watch the whole show, but I'm acting a fool and doing shenanigans. But what I do is a very moment-to-moment thing where I'm only popping the sign up for maybe 10 to 15 seconds on little spurts, And if they see it, they see it. And if they don't, they don't. So I try to have that moment with them. That's ideally best. If it's caught on camera, awesome. And if I can screen cap that, beautiful. But then that's what's beautiful about the merch tables and then actually being at their merch tables is I can go with a sign and take an up close and personal in that moment picture with said talent.
Yeah, and I think that's where, what really drew me into the indie scene even harder. Now, WWE, AEW is all great.
Amazing.
You can't get personable. Not for $1 million. Nope. You gotta spend a lot of money to meet your favorite wrestler for 5 minutes.
And you can go to 10 shows for the price of one really, really, really expensive.
And most of the time, they'll talk to you like a human.
Absolutely.
Most of the time.
Like I said, respect.
Sometimes, like I said, Bacabella will get a little mouthy with people. Not me!
That's his character, that's his job.
You know what I'm saying? But even MJF, I find that to be funny. He's one of the greatest talkers. He'll treat you like absolute shit. But that's his character.
But if you understand that, you get why he's signing the figures and throwing them off his table.
I see Ava do it on the small level, signing things backwards and throwing my book down. She didn't need to do that, but it's part of her character. She's that person, and that's what draws it in. And getting that close to these guys, going on the intermissions, getting to talk to them, getting to shake hands, getting to even congratulate them.
Absolutely.
Nice match, buddy. That's all. It's all just. It just makes it that much more immersive and makes it you want to go to these shows more and more. It's almost addictive because you start meeting these guys, you start to follow these guys, and you actually get to know them. Some of them might even talk to you on social media. They start interacting. Hey, you post a picture. Oh, hey, and then they might even include you in their online stories. You might even get thrown in there. They might even banter you on there.
It's insane. I'm like, look who just posted me and the boys doing our thing.
And I still mark out over it because whether they're in VSW or in WWE, to me, they're still superstars.
I don't care. They're doing something that I would love to do. I can't do it. I'm too old and my back hurts already.
Just
So,
looking at them,
you know what I mean? So I respect what they do. I love a good, you know, high-flying move, but at the same time, the grapplers and the low staying peeps, it's awesome. Everything's great. When you get in that ring, physically, it really doesn't matter. As long as it balances out with your ability on the mic, that's my opinion. It's to cut a promo, to be in the ring, working, it's the same thing, because it's all a mental psych too, where you need to present yourself like you're confident and know what you're talking about. Bacabella, I'll give it to him. He knows what the hell he's talking about. He can talk.
He does. And you can ask him about shit, and he'll come back with a, so what happened in '88 in Texas? And he'll come back with a full damn story. And he never has a pause.
No, he never lets you talk. You're right. That's very true. Unless you're waving money in his face, then he'll
stop for that second.
Exactly.
But then it's back to the talking.
This is very, very true. And I mean, I've been going back and forth with Bacabella for a long time. And like I said, I've come a long way.
That's the first shirt I actually bought.
One of the first ones, because you can tell, everybody gets to see the front of the poster board. Not a lot of people get to see the back. And if you see a brown poster board, that's an OG poster. I've since come a long way and realized that foam board is a lot more sturdy and it just works better. So Bacabella has always been a very easy person to get, and the fact that we are Facebook friends with these people allows us to take images and just manipulate them. I know you're a graphic designer.
I am.
Oh wait, you're not supposed to see that. He hates this. He hates this.
He does hate it. But that's what I'm saying. That's the cool thing. You can bring your work over there and you can have them sign it. You can have your wrestlers sign something you made that kind of incorporates them. And
I remember that moment. He popped like crazy.
And that's the thing. For a bad guy, this kind of stuff is what they want. They don't want you to go out there and... They want you to interact with them, but they want you to do it in the right way. They want you to be that...
That's
like
what people need to understand, that a heel loves what they do.
Oh, they do.
Therefore, go hard on the heel, and the heel will go even harder. And it's just...
But it's what they want.
It is.
And, you know, people will say, like, no. It's like, no.
I do all kinds of stupid stuff, and, like, this is one of my favorites, where Aaron Rourke, he's known as the dime piece, right? So I had to take it a step further, and when he came out and saw it, he pops because he sees dime piece, and then I finish it off of shit. So, but you know, that gimmick only gets used once or twice and it works, and now I'm back to the drawing board. So it's like, do I have to do what I do? No, I don't have to do shit. I have to sit and watch the show. But I love doing what I do because I love catching people off guard. I love what they do, and that's my way of making them pop. If they can get some great footage of that, of them reacting to it, you know, on IWTV, on Fight TV, doing any kind of our shenanigans, that's what I love. I just love including everybody in what we do and how we do it. The more the merrier.
It is, and I mean, that's the thing. I mean, how many times have you watched on the main screen, growing up, and you would see, the heel walking down, he would pick that kid in the front row, rip his sign, throw it on the ground.
I love it.
And you would be like, oh my God, the kid's crying, the mother's screaming. It's like,
and I
get
get it.
His job.
It's happened to me too. It's happened to me countless times. We have giant dweeb and giant gross signs that we bring to every single show, and we're probably on dweeb 4.0, gross 3.0, because they just keep ripping them. And that's how we meet these people, and that's how they make the list, so to speak. And that's when we start the beautiful relationships we start with these people. When they mess with us, we mess with them, and that's wrestling.
So now, do you only make signs for the heels?
No, absolutely not. Let's see. Okay. Recently, I've seen a lot of development for Rex Lawless.
Yep.
He's one of my favorites, and you see him on Beyond. He's cut a lot of weight off, and he's toned.
He looks awesome.
And what's the chant that everybody chants? Rex has pecs. I wish I could do the booby dance that Rex does, so I can't. So I made something that could. Rex has pecs.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
So I put little springs behind it, and sure enough, what do you think? Good stuff?
So definitely not your typical sign.
No, especially because I can't just put this in the bag. I have to be careful.
But I mean, it takes time to create it, time
It
to kind of
does.
engineer it. How
does.
do I want this to work? How am I going to execute this?
It's pretty straightforward, you know. I have the design. I usually just sketch it out. If it's something stupid, interactive like that, I have to plan something out like that. And then what do? I made the image on Word, I just blow it up. That's what I do with most signs. I just take the one image and mosaic it, and blow it up, and then match it up.
Yeah.
With the pecs, I printed out a couple extra pecs, mounted them on an extra poster board, mounted on springs, hot glue.
But what I'm saying is, it's easy.
To me, it feels easy. It feels so easy. I know people are like, holy shit, oh my god. And I'm just like, I'm on a roll.
And when you're in that zone, I mean, as an artist, I mean, I can get that. See, I do a lot of graphic design, web design, anything that's
I've
kind
seen
of creative.
it. Yeah.
So I get into that role, I'll be making logos, and someone's like, can you do me a logo? And I'm like, yeah, what's your design? And he'll tell me, and like 10 minutes later, I'm back with it. And he's like,
Yep.
the hell are you on? And I'm like, I'm on my shit right now. I'm in my zone.
I've done a few things like that myself, and it's hard not to act on it when somebody wants, someone you've given so much attention, time, and respect to, giving it right back to you. Not even necessarily with money, but like with just...
I've done free shit.
Exactly.
It's not fun.
Same.
Because you know why? Because I respect them as a wrestler, and they're going out doing it, and I understand they're not getting paid millions.
No.
So guess what? If I can help you out a little bit, and you might even throw my name somewhere around social, that's a good deal for me.
The more you go to, the more people you meet, the more exposure they get, the more exposure you get. Just, you see the same faces over and
I
over
mean,
again.
I just recently helped Johnny Pierce design a little Pierce City
There you go.
thing. He wanted something like Party City, but with Pierce City.
Yeah,
And you know, he's gonna have shirts, I think, this week at NCW. And
maybe I should make some Johnny Pierce the Veil shirts. Anybody catch that picture? I just put him in some like old MySpace haircut, you know, like the bangs over the eyes, and did Johnny Pierce the Veil after the band. And that's what I love, is like, you know, like a play on words or something like that. Like I love the heels too. I find that I do have a lot of heel stuff, but I do have face stuff too, and that makes them pop like crazy. But Chuck O'Neil, I don't know if you remember him. Yeah. He's since moved to Florida. Cold Steel Chuck O'Neil, UFC. But he was like my original, before Bacabella, he was like my original person I would mess with. And every show I would come up with something different. And fun fact, that was a full circle moment, and I love these full circle moments in my wrestling world where I've referenced where I make cakes. I do wedding cakes too, and I'm about to do a wedding cake, and I did Chuck O'Neil's wedding cake.
Oh, wow.
So going to enough shows, I shook his hand, gave him my card, talked to him online, and made it work. But before that, we got to be typical heel Chuck O'Neil. I'm trying to make it work.
That's great.
So Chuck was just so easy to rib. But the more I looked into him, the guy was legit. Like, he is a Brock Lesnar, if you will. I'm not going to compare him to Brock Lesnar. He's better than Brock Lesnar. But he's the real deal and could kick your ass if you crossed him.
But in the ring as a wrestler, he was kind of like, you would almost think he was like goofy a little bit. And he was that kind of like able to be kind of messed with. But then, like you said, knowing what you know, it's like, oh shit, he's the one dude in the locker room you don't want to play with.
Exactly. But then I was so green and such a mark then. I mean, like I said, I'm still a mark. I am such a mark. But seeing him do his thing, I was like, this guy is crazy. I'm going to keep messing with him, even though he could probably kick my ass.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I first saw him, I think it was actually the BC Dub show. It was Beyond show that they did in 2020. It was supposed to be like some new owners were taking over Beyond, and they were trying to clean it up. So we couldn't have any swearing, couldn't wear any old shirts. They brought out Hornswoggle as a GM. Like, it was wild. And it was crazy. On the same day as the last ever Evolve show. Same arena too, believe it or not.
Wow.
Memories, yeah. Evolve was a good show, but that was actually the last time AG fought for Evolve, and then they fought everybody, and that's why how AG and Castro got took. But I saw that show was fun. I remember who's coming out there. Oh, AG.
I know you're partial to AG, and I guess I'm partial to him now too. But is it trash day? I think it's trash day. Let's take out the trash.
You know, that's the thing. AG's one of those guys, though. Even if you don't like him, you have to respect what he's done.
Look where he's in Japan right now, and he's doing his thing. And the good-looking guys, and I don't know if you followed it at all, but he's making moves like I've never seen. And he doesn't, forgive me, he doesn't need AEW, he doesn't need WWE.
No, he's proved it.
And he's just going to keep going.
But there was one thing, there's two things actually, I'll say this, that he always wanted to do. One thing was leave it in a better place than he found, and I think he's doing a good job with that. I've heard him do tremendous helping at shows, helping out new shows, helping out in the background. The other thing is he wanted to make this his job. He wanted to live off of wrestling.
Yeah.
And I think he's been able to succeed with that.
He's got
you
the
know,
passion,
with the
definitely.
amount of matches, with the amount of seminars, learning, training, everything that he does.
Yeah, I'll give it to him. Like, I've gone back and forth with AG, but he's a good guy.
If you look in that closet, you'll see half of, not half, but there's a good amount of
Between
AG.
AG and Bacabella with you, I don't know who, what, where, when. But I've had my moments with AG and they came full circle. Like, we were at a Heavy Lives the Crown show and I did my first, took one sign out, he threw it, and I had a "You Still Suck" sign. I had a backup sign, if you will. And that's when I started like planning for things, because you meet people and you get how they are. Oh, look who's here. They're gonna rip the sign, they're gonna throw the sign away, they're gonna do something. So I have something backup. I always try to have something on backup to know that, like, you wanna play the game, that's fine, but I'm gonna play just as hard.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I mean, so you kind of, like you said, the more you go to these things, the more you kind of get a feel for what this show is going to be like. How
Absolutely.
Who's there? And I mean, that will also determine what signs you're bringing. Who's there? What talent's there?
Yep, I try to follow the card. You know, they release the matches. You know, usually on Facebook, I'm just a Facebook whore. I'm just always on Facebook. You know, just watching, seeing what comes out, what's released, what matches are coming up. And I get gassed and I share them with the boys, and then we decide on what shows we're going to prioritize. I try to go to them all, but you can't make every show. I'm just going to say that. I try to make them all. I can't. I want to, but I can't.
Yeah, I've tried.
It's tough.
It's hard. You know, first of all, not to mention some shows run at the same time, but
Exactly.
otherwise you'll burn yourself out really fast. And that's only because of the era we live in. We have a lot of wrestling every weekend. Like, if you go up to Maine now, I don't think it's run as much. There's not as many shows every week. That's what we were talking. I was talking to somebody that's running the show up in Maine. They were like, Maine's a little bit different. We have a lot of wrestling, but it's spread out a lot further.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Oh, it's like 5 hours away for a show.
You gotta go.
Yeah. And the other thing is, it's not every weekend. Whereas Mass, there's one promotion at least every weekend. If you're lucky ones.
If you're looking, you can find it.
But if there's not, if you're unlucky, there'll be 3 or 4, and 2 of them you like. So now it's like,
And it's no hard feelings. It's genuinely. Can we take a second and realize that we're also real people with real lives? And as much as I do, which I consider it a hobby, it does take up my time and it does take up my money. But I'm never one to play that card, so to speak.
I mean, I'm a podcaster. 90% of my time, I feel like, goes to editing videos, putting up videos.
But just understand, like, I'm not getting an envelope at the end of the show. You know, I'm not asking for that either. But what is nice is all these relationships that we're getting. And that's all I want. So if I have a good relationship with you, I'm keeping that. We're on good terms. If I'm not at your show, it doesn't mean that I hate you or I'm not into your stuff anymore. It means that my schedule didn't permit it, or God forbid, I'm trying to see what other wrestling is out there. I love going to the same promotions, the same months, on the same specific days, but I also love seeing what's out there. And that is what let me see that promotion or that promotion.
Exactly. And not to mention, I mean, sometimes I don't even follow the promotion, I follow the talent. So where the talent is.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see the matches.
And then you see, oh, who's this W? And you're like, oh, I follow them, okay. Oh, I haven't been to a show by them. I gotta get out there. I gotta go see what they have to offer. And that's all I'm looking for, is seeing what promotions have to offer and how they present it and what
What are they different? What are their storylines like? I find that stuff interesting, and I also a fan of, like, different wrestling and stuff. Like, like Radpro. I find that to be highly entertaining because everybody's different.
It blows my mind. I haven't been to a show, but I've been following it. I follow the clips they post. It blows my mind. I had to message multiple people to understand what the promotion was. And I still don't get it.
Yeah, I went for my first time.
I still don't get it.
Basically, it's take wrestlers, but you gotta understand this. Wrestling, right? You're a wrestler, but you're also something else that people don't realize. You're an actor.
Yes, yes.
And you're able to act. And a lot of the WWE guys have an IMDb page. They'll consider themselves movie stars. So now, if you can act, right, and you can do your own stunts, because now you're a wrestler, so you can do your own moves, you can fight.
Okay.
All you're doing is just taking your role and changing it. You're still
True.
whoever,
True.
but now you're playing a different character. So it's allowing wrestlers to see them. You're getting to see guys in different light. You might never have seen, some, Channing Thomas play a robot.
I was just about to say,
let's go there.
Angelo Intellect and Wally Dangus.
And Wally Dangus.
I said, wait, isn't that Channing and Buck? I'm like, wait, but what? What? And what is it, like a time machine back to the 90s?
Everything takes place in the 90s. There's no time machine, I don't think. Everything takes place in the 90s.
A figurative time machine?
Maybe.
I don't get it. I love LMK in her little, was it Mount Crabtree? Or
oh my god, I didn't even know it was her until like halfway through the match. She was this old lady coming out, I see what
I saw that, I got that, because I love watching her on Beyond, and she's great doing her rah gimmick and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But can I just say Shannon Labanji? As
Eyeless?
I was going to pronounce it. Eyeless with
I was
astounded. Come out with it.
Yeah, the thing on the chain. That blew my mind away.
I had the same moment you had with LMK where I didn't know it was her, and I was like mid-match. I'm like, stop. Is that Shannon? And sure enough, it was. And I'm like, this is incredible. And I don't know if you know anything about it, because I don't, and I always try to ask questions. But
I do.
Do they get to choose their own business and do what they want to do, or is it provided for them?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that they talk with the promoter. They try to run some fun. It's run by. I do know it's run by Scott, which is the head trainer over at any PCW, New England Pro Academy.
Okay.
So you're getting a lot of these chaotic guys and girls too. That's how you get, Labanji.
See,
you're getting.
I want to go to chaotic. I haven't been. I've
had chaotic?
Not to a specific chaotic show. I've had some of my boys go and have a good time.
They have a lot of
I know.
But they're another one that's kind of it used to be just a one-stop shop, and then they expanded, and now you're getting like different deals.
I know there's some Braintree shows, so I might make one of those. But just saying, I want to make more shows. I want to see more promotions. I can go down a list and we can talk all day about what promotions are out there and what they have to offer.
Oh, I've been all the way out as far as like VXS out in Jersey when he used to run out there at the H2O Center.
Trying to think.
And other shows out that way. I've been to the IWTV 100 out in Pennsylvania, Jersey line. And again, that was just because I wanted to see Baca Bella fight on the Camp Leapfrog card.
And I'm all about traveling and going places and as far as possible. But
I went to GCW, that was a hike.
I try. I usually get out as far as Springfield. That's kind of far west as we go.
But yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, things have changed since 21. Gas has gone up.
Everything.
Cost has gone up. Food has gone up. So when you go on these road trips, it's no longer just $20 for the day. It's like $120 for the day.
It's gonna be a day trip for me. So understand that. Like.
Oh, it's always been a day trip, but it's like even for driving home, it's like.
I struggle. So sometimes I want to stay somewhere. If I'm gonna make that commitment and make that trip, I'll stay somewhere, but it's a commitment. It really is.
The only place I'll try to stay is if I get out to like Limitless. If it's one of their further shows, because they have two. One in Yarmouth isn't too bad for me. It's like 2.5 hour ride, but the other one's like 4.5 hours. But if I do that, I want to make a weekend of it. I want to go out there and spend the whole weekend. They got great dispensaries out there. They got great food. They got great everything. Shopping. And I get the wife to come say, hey, we can go to the outlets, and she'll come to the show. So I'll plan around that. But if I'm just going with my friend, we just go for the day and come back. And it's like, yeah, I've literally drawn 3 hours to hop in, get out for 2 hours, and then drive 3 more hours back. But
see, I would. I'm all about that life and doing that. But also, like, you got to show the day before, the day after. See, these wrestlers also, they're traveling all these ways. And I remember I was talking like the boys from Connecticut, Flash Waller, Carlin King, Ichiban, Alex Rojas. And they make that trip to Connecticut. And they come up to Worcester, and they go back, and then they come up to maybe Fight Life or something like that, and back and forth. And I'm like, I gotta plan a trip like that. I can't do. And they do this every single day.
I remember there was wrestlers in Herman, Maine.
Yeah.
Right? And then the next day they were all at We Are Wrestling in Jersey. And I remember seeing MSP down in Jersey, and they're looking at me, and I'm like, what's up, boys?
Yeah.
And they're like, you're far away from home, like, and so aren't you? They're like, yeah, we got about an 8-hour drive back.
Well, that's great. They see your face and they're like, I know you, and you came to see us, and that's awesome.
And I love to do that if I can travel more. I like to see guys and girls that are in this area that are getting out of this area and go to their shows out there. Like, if I could get to an MLW show, I would be all for it.
I like, honestly, me, like, looking forward to a show that gives me enough notice, seeing the card posted, like, months ahead of time, being like, I want to be there. We went to the Fishtown Beatdown, Chad Epic's promotion in Gloucester, and we got to shit on Cardona. It was amazing. If I recall, he posted a picture of one of the signs, got like 8,000 likes on his Instagram, so that made me cheese.
Effort's a good guy, I like it.
He's great. He's been very good to me. Makes a damn good hot sauce. Can sell pretty much anything. He could sell.
He's another one. He's a good talker and seller.
And yeah.
You know, and that just brings me back to the lost art again. Both of the two people that I kind of like in this industry, it's a lost art, and that's the art of managing. You don't see it often.
Nope. I always love seeing it. I love knowing that if someone wants to pursue it, they can. But do you have the ability? That's the question.
I feel like it's hard. I feel like it's harder to be a manager than to be a wrestler now because you got to really be part of it.
I consider myself neutral in the wrestling world, and I don't want to kick up any dust or anything. But I love seeing a good wrestler, and I know that a lot of managers have. And I guess it comes with being a wrestler. There can be egos, and everyone needs to play nice. Everyone needs to just come together and realize that we're here to please everybody sitting in the seats that paid their tickets.
Yes, I think, and again, not sure anything, I think, in my opinion, I think the ego needs to be kayfabe.
It does.
And the ego's there because we're there, but you gotta remember, at the end of the day, somebody is getting to go home with the title, somebody's getting it, it's all predetermined, it's all part of the fun, it's all to do one thing, and that's to entertain us outside.
Remember Jimmy Hart with Mouth of the South? I got to meet, I feel like we've all met him at some point at a convention or something, but his energy to me was probably the best. There's plenty of managers, plenty, and him to me always stands out because he did it. He was running around the ring like a dog, on its leash, and he had his megaphone, and he had the hair, and the glasses, and the suits, and the look.
And he never stopped.
He's still doing it, and he's an awesome guy.
And then you'll see him breaking down the ring after too.
What's to stop other people from being that and doing that? You know what I mean? I understand people need to be somewhere, get somewhere. They feel a certain way about how they perform over somebody else. But at the same time, you need to realize we're all doing the same thing. Or they're all doing the same thing. I'm not them.
Again, they're all trying to entertain.
I'm entertained. There's honestly no show I've never been entertained at. I haven't been to a necessary bad show.
No, I haven't either, actually. I'll say that. I've been to, crappy wrestling, but I'll say that's like almost at the backyard here. Nobody that's running the show for sale.
No,
I've walked into that's been like, oh my god, this is bad.
And there's different qualities of wrestling, but at the end of the day, it's still wrestling.
No, and that's the thing. Like I said, I've been to some backyard shows where people just had fun.
Yeah.
And that's
that can be even better than a.
It can be, it can
a
be
show in the garden.
It can be, and it can be worse. But like I said, originally, when you walk into a show or any kind of a wrestling show, you might have, like I said, a purpose in mind. You might be going there because you want to see, whoever you want to see, you want to get them to pop tonight. Or you might just want to escape your world that you're living in and go out there and just enjoy the night.
Or both.
Or both. Or you might want to do neither of those. You might be just out with friends enjoying that aspect. Wrestling has so many, going to a show has so many different aspects to it that I've never been to a show where I've said, it's bad, because I've always just found the good aspects of it, if that makes sense. Like, even if there's a match I don't like, I found positive, well, this is the time I should go over to the booth and go talk to such and such. No one's over there.
I usually do, and for me, the people who have the worst time at wrestling shows are the wrestlers.
Well, yeah.
They're besides criticizing every little minute wrong step they've taken, when no one's focused on that. The only person focused on that is them. And I'm trying to preach that, is that y'all need to realize this is the future. This is the future right here. They need to realize that.
You like wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite wrestler?
Forgot.
Who's your favorite WWE wrestler?
You like John Cena, you said?
John Cena? You can't see him. So we just did this one. The past 2 nights we debuted this for John Cena Sr.
Oh, wow.
You see, you got a little signature action there.
Did you have who signed John Cena or John Cena Sr.?
Senior.
I always tell them, don't put the senior, because we were
Nah.
Way much more.
It's great because I get moments like this where I made the sign just as a goof. It's his son. We get it. When he comes out to John Cena's theme, it's John Cena's dad, John Cena's dad, and it's just fun.
You know, talk about a showman though. He's probably one of the best in this.
And I'm like, that's John Cena's dad, but he's everywhere.
And you wouldn't even know he's John Cena's dad.
Exactly. And then you see, wait, who's gonna be there? John Cena's dad. And boom, we have fun. That's what we do at shows.
I remember one show, and this was back in the day, he actually pulled strings and got Vince McMahon to show up in the Hall of New England and come in and do a spot.
Wow.
Like, that's power and pull.
I bet, like, if anybody...
And the people that were there, I don't remember what shows, I wasn't at it, I've heard it, you know, secondhand from people that worked it or were on it or watched it. And I heard just the pop was amazing. WWE CEO walking out.
Yeah, it's unheard of.
But you know, like, that's New England. I heard, you know, I follow Chaotic, and I went to one of their fantasy camps. I want to see what it's like to get in the ring. I'm a little old too, and my back hurts too. But I said, you know, let's try it. Let's see what they do. And you know, we get in there, you know, we get down there. It was a really good time. LeBanji was there helping us train. Ricky Smokes, the top star.
Love Ricky.
You know, and we're all over there. We're doing our thing, you know. It was a lot of fun. But, hold on, look, can you, just watch out right there. What were we talking about? You just totally just...
Chaotic.
Yes. No, so, you know, I followed Chaotic, and I went down to their, you know, their training, and I did their session. And, you know, we learned a lot of, cool kind of stuff about, you know, just wrestling in itself.
That's all I care about, is just learning more.
You know,
more than you can.
And how to, you know, you learn from these guys and girls, but you also learn from, like, each other. Like, we got to cut promos. They want us to cut promos.
That's half the battle. I've said
Right.
before,
They want us to cut promos. They want us to do this. But this is what I was talking about. Sorry, I got sidetracked with him. Going back, you know, Chase Del Monte runs it, Al Half runs it, and he half runs the school. And he was talking to us about a time in the period when they were there training. All of a sudden, Triple H shows up with Sasha Banks and somebody else. Goes, hey, we need this spot. You know, we need your KO. We need to work out. They were having a show in Mass. It was a big pay-per-view. They said, we need to use this space. We need to work our match. Can we, you know, take it over?
But they never
And he was like, yo, can we watch? And they're like, yeah, okay. So, like, you know, you have this still connection to New England, whether it be John Cena's dad, whether it be Sasha Banks. She was still coming, I heard, and popping up randomly to help trainings.
Mm-hmm. I love New England, man. It's...
You know, you got so many people coming in and out. But, what did we watch last time? Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
Oh, you get the gross sign.
There you go. You're a wrestling fan. I knew it.
He hasn't been to a show yet.
No? Here, let's do some interactive. You can help. Ready? So, I like to do signs too that you don't just put up. You put it up and then you put it up again, if you will. So, we're going to try something here. One of my good friends, Isaac Knox, he was at a show outside, and as we all know as wrestling fans, a lot of the time you transport the ring in big U-Hauls, right?
Yeah.
Does that say U-Haul?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It says U-Knox. Because Isaac Knox got up on top of that U-Haul, and what did he do? I want you to push this up. He jumped.
Oh!
He jumped off the U-Haul into the ring.
That's wild.
So, little things like that. It's fun. They respect it. They appreciate it.
I respect it. I appreciate it. I mean, 'cause this I said, like, I know you're saying you're gonna say it's easy, but again, you have to, you gotta engineer that. I want this to pop up.
And that was a moment at a show. I wasn't at that show.
You just saw the spot.
But I saw the spot all over social media. The kid has like a painting made of him in the air of that moment. So that was such a great moment.
That was going to be my question. How do you pick, like, because I've seen you have some very specific stuff. So how do you decide what spots you want to do?
How do you go? Well, usually it's if you've taken the time to talk to me at a show or something, or if I have seen you before, if I've been introduced to you, I know what you have to offer. And that being said, that's where a lot of the ribs come for the heels, where I see what they look like, who they resemble, what their gimmick is like, and then I use it. And here, we'll take a brand new one. I haven't posted any pictures of it yet, but do you know a guy named BRG? Brett Ryan Gosselin?
He was on Daddy's show, remember?
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
that.
Well, he's gone very blonde lately, very Ken doll, if you will. Very, he always looks like a little kid, doesn't he?
He
Yeah.
went full Bieber.
He did, and aside from having the Justin Bieber signs, because we have many Justin Bieber heads, probably 3.0 because they've been ripped up so many times, we're up to a new style
Oh, wow.
of head.
Wow.
You know who that is?
You know who that is.
Who's that?
Kevin.
That's right, Kevin from Home Alone. I think he resembles him.
That looks
So-
like Reggie losing.
Yeah, I see that.
This came to my brain like the night before last. The next day I went to Staples because that's what I do, and I printed it out. You know, you'll love this. The kid at the counter. So sometimes I go to Staples and they give me crap because copywritten images and stuff. I'm not making money
Yeah,
off
it is.
this. It's just for a show. So I'll print my stuff out, but then sometimes they'll get a smudge on it or the printer doesn't work. So I'll bring it to the counter and give them my USB, say, can you help me out? Just print this out. And they'll look at the picture and say, I usually don't allow these kind of pictures to be printed, but they will, they'll do it. But this guy, he goes, I have to ask you, why are you printing out a 3-foot tall Kevin McAllister? So I have to explain, I like making signs at wrestling shows, and that's what I do. But that's the thing is, even the kid at Staples, I can open his eyes if he ever wants to go to a wrestling show and say, this is what you get to see.
You never know. He might turn around and say, hey, I like wrestling. The kid, where you go to wrestling?
Exactly.
You're like, oh, I go to
oh my
wrestling.
God, where don't I go to wrestling?
You're right? But there's people that, believe it or not, there's people out there that don't know this wrestling.
There's people out there that just say, when you say the word wrestling, you think WWE and maybe AEW.
Maybe.
And we're not even talking about like MLW and
Some
like,
people don't even know WWE are even
this is
real.
very
That's
true.
true too.
This is
but,
very true.
Yeah, you're not even talking New Japan, MLW. I mean, Ring of Honor.
What
Impact.
country, what style, what, genre, there's something for everyone
But
out
then
there.
you just got the typical people that's like, well, wrestling's big, and they never get beyond that.
Yep.
And they just stuck on that.
And I say, I don't use the F word,
No.
fake. It's
I
just
don't.
not, I don't.
I don't go to the movie and go, this movie was fake.
Exactly. Predetermined is not fake, and we can talk all day about that. But what I do say to people is, come to a show. Come to a show. Sit with us. Hang out with us. Have a good time. And if you don't come back. It's as simple as that. If you don't have a good time, you know it's not for you. But I say don't knock it till you try it. Don't yuck my yum.
No, and like
You
I
know?
said, to people, it's not what an indie show is not what I grew up with. Like I
No,
said, it's not those
not at
the
all.
old WWE guys and a bunch of unknown
No,
jobbers.
it's what we discovered.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And that's what it was, is I remember I worked in Brockton for a while, and I kept seeing posters on the telephone poles, And as a kid, I remember seeing those and being like, that's cool. Where would they ever have wrestling? In Brockton or something like that. And then finally I go to the show. It was like love at first show, and I was hooked. And yeah, it was awesome. For me.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, look what it's turned into. And
For real. And that first show, Tommy Dreamer was the focus talent. Tommy Dreamer and I think Spike Dudley, because he's trained a lot of people, local
yeah,
people
he's
too.
from that school up there. And what was the first? I'm gonna kind of background.
Yeah.
No, what you went to that show? You was in love.
Yep.
You said I gotta get back. I gotta get back to more shows. When did you start to bring a sign?
I'll be honest, the first show I went to, that one, I brought a Tommy Dreamer sign because he was the talent. I'm like, I just felt,
You knew him.
but at the same time, it was half the size as one of these ones.
Yeah,
So
that
I'm
was a
like,
sign.
I was very shy and timid and being like, I hope it's okay, and I hope he likes my sign, and marking out like we all do. And I remember seeing him at his table and be like, that's Tommy Dreamer. But keep in mind, I hadn't been to a show before, so
No,
I'm
the
like,
last time you saw Dream, he was on ECW.
exactly. So I respect him. I know he is who he is. He was who he was, and he's at where he's at. But he was there, I was there, and I was excited. So I made a sign that said Tommy effing Dreamer, and then 2 kendo sticks crisscross. Biggity bam, done. He gave me a wink when he walked by. I was happy. Then I started to go to RWA shows
Yep.
down at the Chop Shop
Yep.
when it used to be
Up
the Chop
there,
Shop. And everybody tells the same story at the Chop Shop where I showed up in this parking lot and didn't know where to go. And you just see people hanging out by the door, and you walk over to the door, you follow the noise, you walk through a few corridors, walk through some curtains, and there's a wrestling ring in the middle. And it was one of the hot spots of wrestling for me.
It was. I think it was. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like it, or some people didn't like it. They said it was whatever because it had so many different promotions running through there. But I thought that was great. I mean, there was so many different Rhode Island promotions.
You know, oh God forbid a bunch of promotions got to run and get their product out there.
I thought it was amazing because people were. I feel bad. I came in, that 17, 18 scene, and I started soaking up everything in Mass. And by the time I got to Rhode Island to start to watch wrestling, the chop shop had closed. I was bummed.
Yep.
I will be honest with you.
I
was dying to get to an RWA show. I had some people online keep telling me to come up. I'm a big Mike Montero fan.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Dirt City Murder Crew. I like all those guys. I learned, I knew them from NCW. So to see these guys in another promotion for me is what I like to do. I like to see people that I know in another promotion.
And I love all those boys. I know them pretty well now, and it's great to be able to cheer them in one promotion and jeer them in another promotion, and it's totally fine and totally understood and accepted, and they get it, I get it.
And everybody rejoices.
Exactly.
Like,
I love that.
I mean, I've had, obnoxious, during a match, Channing Thomas will just belittle me.
Oh yeah, well.
But then after the show at the merch, it was like, hey, what's going on, Versace? How you doing?
Right, I'm surprised because he usually has Bacabella do his talking for
This
him.
was before Bacabella. This was previous. This was
Oh,
NCW before he had.
wow,
Before he was world class.
I see now, so Bacabella doesn't let him talk. That's what it is. I see.
Before he was world class, he was, he was the natural champion.
That's right, natural baby.
And the natural could talk.
Natural baby.
Before that, it was.
Yeah, what the hell happened? I just realized that. Like, he used to talk more.
Timmy Thunder. That was way bad. We don't like to use that word, though. Timmy Thunder. He doesn't like that word.
Well, we've all had to go somewhere to be somewhere, right?
But that's the thing. If you look at these people's careers, honestly, you can't hate them or love them. You can't help but cheer. And like you said, whether you're cheering him at one show or cheering on him, you know that he might be champion here, and you have to boo him.
Yep.
But he's still champion. He's still made it to where he wants to go. He's still making strides, and that's what it's all about.
And you look at Channing's everywhere in New England right now. He's huge star, huge name. And I think you were talking recently about, I think you might have been watching, what was it, when he did the door knock on Goldberg's door?
Yeah!
I popped like
oh my
crazy.
God,
I jumped out of my seat. I said, is that Channing Thomas?
And it was.
Knocking on Goldberg's door? And I feel like nobody was talking about it. I'm like, that is, forget wrestling a match, forget having a spot.
You just opened the door for Goldberg.
You just knocked on Goldberg's door. Do you know how awesome that is?
And
That's awesome.
And I mean, like I said, like he's been everywhere, and honestly, he's going even further. He's talking.
Yeah.
I saw things for Canada. I saw things for Germany.
Beautiful.
Getting out there, that's amazing. You're no longer local.
Worldwide exposure. Who wouldn't want that? You know what I mean? Right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it all starts in these little halls, though. It all starts
It
with
does.
people like, you going out there with signs, getting these people to,
And that's...
not for that. You put on signs and you see, that gives them confidence. That gives them, hey, I'm doing something right.
That's the way I like to support people. I love being creative, having fun, making people happy, whether it's shitting on them or making them happy. That's what I love. I love the inclusion. I love talking to people, meeting new people. I have these shirts. We do these shirts all the time. Like, you see us at shows all congregating together, South Coast Sign Crew boys. And we just have a good time because we know why we're there. We're there to see some wrestling. And we know what goes into wrestling. We know what goes behind the scenes in wrestling. And we respect wrestling. And that's why we're there. So
yeah, you're not there to overtake anybody or stuff. No. You're there to just be there to enjoy the show.
Certain people we jeer more than others, sure, but it's because we built up those relationships with them.
Behind the scenes or other places.
And they love it.
It's like just going to shows. I mean, if you go to the same show 5 times in a row, and you go talk to the same town 5 times.
And then you start creating chants and jeers. And we were at the show last night at the Vault, and I bring my dweeb sign all the time. Dweeb is a big shout out.
Big one, yeah.
Ryan Newell for creating the dweeb chant, but we say dweeb all the time, and Channing was there, and they started a chant without me, all by themselves, world class dweeb, world class dweeb. And I'm like, obviously I whipped the dweeb sign out and it made it work, but it's like a proud father moment.
Yeah, you've transcended it. You've gotten chance.
I had nothing to do with that, and yet I had everything to do with that. And it's just such a beautiful moment of wrestling people coming together and chants and things like that. Like, if you've been to Top Rope shows and Pro Wrestling Super Show at the Brockton VFW, a lot of history at the Brockton VFW, but I just love seeing all the talent that comes out of there. It's up, like, even the people we cheer, like, you know, Caesar Leo. I remember hearing, because I made a Caesar salad sign. I've talked about that one a few times before. So it's just his face on a bowl of Caesar salad. But the people were chanting Caesar salad when I wasn't even there for a show. There was no sign.
No.
And that's what I love about wrestling.
Just, you've already made that mark and people know it, and now it's kind of just and it's like, you know, not for nothing, but in WWE you'll have chants that have started years ago that still being today.
Yep. And that we do at our shows now too.
And now that you know, there's only one person I used to Jared Top Rope, believe it or not, and that was Nico. Nico. For some reason, Nico struck me as like just boring. Because he was always just, you know, the happy good guy.
I get it. I feel like he needs a little bit more exposure. Like
he needs to stop facing Channing Thomas and BRG and get out there.
I agree. I feel like the talent's there, but he has a lot of energy, and I love seeing that. Like his burst is hulking out and bursting out.
But I've seen other sides of him where, like, I saw him bloodied in a cage, and I'm like, that's the Nico I want to see. Show me that.
It's true, and I understand what you mean by the kind of the weeks. Hey, if you're gonna ask us, we're wrestling fans, and we'll give you our opinion. And I am also of the opinion that there can be a lot of repetitive matches, a lot of repetitive so-and-so and so-and-so for, or whatever.
And I don't know if that's just because it's non-inclusive talent, or if it's just because...
But it's like, these two guys against each other all the time. These two guys against each other all the time. And they flip-flop, 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 flip-flop. Why can't they just crisscross and... I don't get it. But that, again, I learn something new every show.
Yeah, we're not bookers and so forth, but I mean, you know, again, remember while growing up, I guess we saw HBK and Shawn Michaels fight 1,000 times, but we didn't see it every 3 weeks. And I think that's the difference now. It's in our faces every 3 weeks. So when you see these 3 matches in a row, it's like,
So again,
really?
They'll do the steel cage, and then they'll do the strap match, and then they'll do the dog collar match, and then they'll do the street fight, and then they'll do the regular match. It's just, it gets a little repetitive.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. We're not asking for crazy storylines or anything, but like at least if you're not going to do a crazy storyline, at least give us a little bit of variety. That's all. Because I love seeing the same people and I love befriending them, but when there's nobody new, there's no. I'm not saying bring in a Tommy Dreamer every single time, but
no, but there's other guys and girls that I'm on that level that we brought around.
You know what I've been seeing is Jermaine Marbury.
Yep.
He's been everywhere now. I keep seeing his face up, down, everywhere. And I've seen him twice in the past 2 days. And the whole thing with the basketball and Benny the basketball, and it works. Having the defense chants, like they play this audio clip, like he's got it all synced up and it works. And at first I'm like, this is wrestling. Why are you basketball? But then I saw it and it works. And see, that's where I go back to being a mark and just, you know, I still have times where I'm like, what is that? Get out of here with that. And then I see it for what it is, and it's like, let's not judge a book by its cover.
That's creative, yeah.
Absolutely.
Used to it. You know, that's the greatest thing about wrestling. There's so much for everybody, and even if there's not, you'll still find something to yourself.
Definitely.
You know, I think it's a saving grace to a lot of people, not just, like I said, that escape from reality, but also, you know, it does give people a place for their outlets. You know, you got creative outlets. People have it, and it's good to be able to use them.
Yeah.
I mean, where else can you make giant signs of people and hold them up and rip them? Nowhere.
It's wild.
Nowhere.
It's such a...
You know, it's just, it makes wrestling.
It does, and that's all I'm trying to do is just preach the word of wrestling, and everybody is included. Everybody can join. And once you realize that, the rest is gravy, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody can go to a show and have fun time. Everybody can go and cheer. Everybody can go and boo, you know?
Anybody can be there, but when you realize that you're at a wrestling show and what that entails, your eyes being open, that's the thing. You can buy a ticket, but you can also fall asleep in your chair. I've seen people fall asleep in their chairs.
I've seen it.
With a mid-sandwich fight. Fell asleep right in the... I've seen it. Anyway, we see it all at wrestling shows. We really do. But it's just realizing the potential. The energy. That's what I look forward to at a wrestling show. People give me shit. It's because they don't get wrestling.
Yeah,
That's it.
and those people you just kind of gotta just honestly just brush them off because it's not worth the fight over there.
No, I don't need to prove to you. More for me. That's what I say. If you don't want it,
Well,
fine.
the wrestling's for you, not for them anyway.
Exactly. So if you don't want to hang, that's fine by me. But you don't know what you're missing. That's what I say. Well, Mario.
I have to say, thank you for coming on. This has been great. You know, like I said, I don't really get to talk with fans a lot. I mean, I see them at shows, but I like to bring them on. I want to bring them on because, you know, especially fans that are doing stuff, you know, like I said, I see your shows all over. I've seen them on, you know, TV matches that, you know, I never
It's
TV
wild,
shows. And it's just great. I'm like, oh, there's one of Greg's sign. There's Greg's sign. There's Greg's sign. Like that's great.
We're having fun, man. That's all I'm about.
That's what it's about. And everybody should have fun. You know, it's a fun industry if you want it to be.
It is. You just gotta keep it fun. Not all wrestling's fun. I was told
No,
that.
no, not all wrestling's fun, but when you're on the fan side of it, keep it light.
I do, and I stay out of the bullshit.
It's there's no need, you know, and you just go out there. If that's your thing.
This is the tip of the iceberg, man. I'm just gaining momentum now. I, like a lot of people, I don't want to get burnt out. I know a lot of people get burnt out even just going to shows.
You can.
Because I just went to 2 shows last night and the night before. I held back from yelling stuff because I knew I was going to be talking to you today. I actually wanted to have a voice. So people don't realize, yeah, I'm barking and chirping at every single match the whole day, the whole night, and you had 1 match. And you're wondering why I'm not at that show or the next show. I'm tired.
Well, yeah,
That's
that's
all.
what it is.
We try to make them all.
We
try.
do. I've never not went to a show because I've had ill beef. It's either been like I'm sick, my wife's sick, my kid's sick, or I'm just tired.
Life happens, man.
It does.
Life first.
But you know what? We got a lot of great fans out there that kind of just keep things going. Like you said, you don't have to even be there now for people to start the chants.
And it's beautiful. You can see, and I go to the same promotion again, and I see people who have realized you can bring a sign. And the more signs I see, it's awesome. It's the inclusion. Everybody knows why they're there, and I love it.
And then again, it brings it back. I mean, if you looked at a Raw in '98, there was signs everywhere.
You couldn't see a person's head.
face.
Yes.
It was all signs, all words.
Let's bring
all
it back. The sign renaissance, if you will. Let's do it.
You're the beginning of it, and I hope we can. Thank you
Let's
again
keep
for
going.
coming on.
Anytime, brother. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for watching at home, everybody. This has been a great episode. Versace Stoner out.